Welcome to Vorldrevolution. Dear friends, today we will summarize the book Dark Psychology and Manipulation by William Cooper. Overview. Dark psychology is described as the study of the human condition and its connection to the psychological nature of people who target others for control and manipulation. Cooper emphasizes that dark psychology is not just a theoretical concept but a practical one that affects real-life situations. It involves the use of persuasion, manipulation, and coercion to influence and control others' behavior and decisions. The overview highlights that dark psychology is an innate part of human nature. It explains how certain individuals, often referred to as manipulators or predators, exploit these psychological principles to their advantage. These individuals use a variety of techniques to deceive, influence, and control others without their knowledge. The book aims to uncover these techniques and provide readers with the knowledge to recognize and defend against them. Cooper also touches on the ethical implications of using dark psychology. While the techniques can be powerful tools for achieving personal goals, they can also cause significant harm if used maliciously. The overview sets the tone for the rest of the book, which delves deeper into specific methods and strategies used in dark psychology, such as emotional manipulation, mind control, and brainwashing. By understanding the principles outlined in the overview, readers are better equipped to navigate social interactions and protect themselves from being manipulated. The book promises to provide practical advice and real-life examples to illustrate how these techniques are used and how to counteract them. Summary. 1. Understanding dark psychology. Dark psychology is essentially the study of how certain individuals exploit psychological principles to influence and control others. Cooper explains that dark psychology is not inherently evil but becomes problematic when used unethically. It encompasses a range of techniques, including persuasion, manipulation, coercion, and deception, which are often employed by individuals with malicious intent. One of the key concepts discussed is the idea that dark psychology is an innate part of human nature. Cooper argues that everyone has the potential to use these techniques, but it is the intent and context that determine whether their use is ethical or harmful. For example, a salesperson might use persuasive techniques to close a deal, which is generally considered acceptable. However, when these techniques are used to exploit or harm others, they cross into the realm of dark psychology. Cooper provides several real-life examples to illustrate how dark psychology operates. One such example is the use of emotional manipulation in relationships. A manipulative partner might use guilt, fear, or flattery to control their significant other. They might say things like, "If you really love me, you would do this for me," leveraging emotional bonds to get what they want. Another example is mind control in cults. Cult leaders often use a combination of isolation, repetitive messaging, and emotional manipulation to break down individuals' resistance and reshape their beliefs. This process, known as brainwashing, can lead individuals to act against their own best interests and adopt the cult's ideology without question. Cooper also discusses coercion in the workplace. A manipulative boss might use threats of job loss or promises of promotion to coerce employees into working longer hours or taking on unethical tasks. This form of manipulation exploits the power dynamics in the workplace to achieve the manipulator's goals. Understanding these techniques is the first step in protecting oneself from manipulation. Cooper emphasizes the importance of awareness and critical thinking. By recognizing the signs of manipulation, individuals can take steps to set boundaries and protect their autonomy. The book provides practical advice on how to respond to manipulative behaviors, such as staying calm, asking clarifying questions, and seeking support from others. 2. Recognizing manipulative tactics. The section on recognizing manipulative tactics is pivotal for understanding how to identify and defend against various forms of psychological manipulation. This section provides a comprehensive guide to the subtle and often insidious techniques used by manipulators to control and influence others. Cooper begins by explaining that manipulators often rely on a range of psychological tactics to achieve their goals. These tactics are designed to exploit human vulnerabilities, such as the need for approval, fear of rejection, and desire for security. By understanding these tactics, individuals can become more aware of when they are being manipulated and take steps to protect themselves. One of the primary tactics discussed is gaslighting. This involves making someone question their reality, memory, or perceptions. For example, a manipulative partner might repeatedly deny events that the victim clearly remembers, causing the victim to doubt their own sanity. Cooper provides a real-life example of a woman whose partner constantly told her she was overreacting to his flirtations with other women, even though she had clear evidence of his behavior. Over time, she began to question her own perceptions and felt increasingly insecure. Another common tactic is emotional blackmail. This involves using fear, obligation, and guilt to control someone's behavior. A manipulator might say, "If you leave me, I don't know what I'll do," implying that the victim is responsible for the manipulator's well-being. This creates a sense of obligation and guilt, making it difficult for the victim to assert their own needs and boundaries. Love bombing is another tactic where the manipulator overwhelms the victim with affection, praise, and attention to gain their trust and dependence. Once the victim is emotionally invested, the manipulator may begin to withdraw affection and use the victim's dependence to control them. Cooper illustrates this with the story of a man who showered his new partner with gifts and compliments, only to later use her emotional dependence to manipulate her into doing things she was uncomfortable with. Cooper also discusses triangulation, where the manipulator brings a third person into the relationship to create jealousy and competition. This can make the victim feel insecure and more dependent on the manipulator for validation. For instance, a boss might praise one employee excessively in front of others to create competition and control the group dynamics. To help readers recognize these tactics, Cooper emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and critical thinking. He suggests keeping a journal to document interactions and feelings, which can help identify patterns of manipulation. Additionally, he advises seeking support from trusted friends or professionals who can provide an outside perspective. In summary, recognizing manipulative tactics in William Cooper's book equips readers with the knowledge to identify and defend against various forms of psychological manipulation. By understanding tactics like gaslighting, emotional blackmail, love bombing, and triangulation, individuals can better protect themselves and maintain their autonomy in relationships. 3. Psychological profiling. William Cooper delves into the methods and techniques used to understand and predict human behavior. This section is crucial for anyone looking to grasp how manipulators identify and exploit the weaknesses of their targets. Psychological profiling involves analyzing an individual's behavior, personality traits, and psychological characteristics to predict their actions and reactions. Cooper explains that this technique is often used by law enforcement and psychologists to understand criminal behavior, but it can also be employed by manipulators to gain control over their victims. One of the key aspects of psychological profiling is the identification of personality traits. Cooper discusses how manipulators look for traits such as low self-esteem, high need for approval, and dependency. These traits make individuals more susceptible to manipulation because they are more likely to seek validation and approval from others. For example, a manipulator might target someone with low self-esteem by offering excessive praise and attention, creating a sense of dependency. Once the target is emotionally invested, the manipulator can begin to exert control by withdrawing affection or using emotional blackmail. Cooper also highlights the importance of understanding behavioral patterns. By observing how individuals react in different situations, manipulators can predict their responses and tailor their tactics accordingly. For instance, if a person tends to avoid conflict, a manipulator might use intimidation or threats to get what they want, knowing that the target is unlikely to confront them. Another technique discussed is the use of psychological triggers. These are specific stimuli that evoke strong emotional responses. Manipulators often exploit these triggers to influence behavior. For example, a manipulator might use a target's fear of abandonment to coerce them into staying in an unhealthy relationship. By threatening to leave, the manipulator can control the target's actions and decisions. Cooper provides a real-life example of psychological profiling in action. He describes a scenario where a salesperson uses profiling techniques to close a deal. By observing the customer's body language and responses, the salesperson identifies that the customer is anxious about making a decision. The salesperson then uses reassuring language and offers a limited time discount to create a sense of urgency, ultimately persuading the customer to make the purchase. To protect oneself from these tactics, Cooper emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and critical thinking. He advises individuals to reflect on their own personality traits and behavioral patterns to understand their vulnerabilities. By being aware of these weaknesses, individuals can take steps to strengthen their self-esteem and assertiveness, making them less susceptible to manipulation. In summary, psychological profiling in William Cooper's book provides a detailed look at how manipulators analyze and exploit human behavior. Through real-life examples and practical advice, it equips readers with the knowledge to recognize and defend against these tactics, fostering greater self-awareness and resilience. 4. Emotional manipulation. In Dark Psychology and Manipulation by William Cooper, the section on emotional manipulation delves into the various tactics used to control and influence others by exploiting their emotions. This section is particularly insightful as it reveals how manipulators can subtly and effectively use emotional leverage to achieve their goals. Emotional manipulation involves using emotions as a tool to control another person's behavior, thoughts, or feelings. Cooper explains that this form of manipulation is often covert and can be difficult to detect because it plays on the natural human tendency to respond to emotional cues. Manipulators use a range of techniques to create emotional responses that benefit them, often at the expense of the victim's well-being. One of the primary techniques discussed is guilt tripping. This involves making the victim feel guilty for not complying with the manipulator's demands. For example, a manipulative friend might say, "After all I've done for you, you can't even do this one thing for me?" This statement is designed to evoke feelings of guilt and obligation, making the victim more likely to comply. Another common tactic is playing the victim. Manipulators often portray themselves as the victim in situations to gain sympathy and manipulate others into doing what they want. For instance, a manipulative partner might frequently talk about how everyone has wronged them, creating a narrative where they are always the victim. This can make the actual victim feel responsible for the manipulator's happiness and more likely to cater to their needs. Gaslighting is another powerful form of emotional manipulation. This involves making the victim doubt their own perceptions, memories, and sanity. A manipulator might deny events that the victim clearly remembers or accuse the victim of being overly sensitive or paranoid. Over time, this can erode the victim's confidence in their own judgment and make them more dependent on the manipulator for validation. Cooper also discusses love bombing, where the manipulator overwhelms the victim with excessive affection, flattery, and attention. This creates a sense of euphoria and dependency in the victim. Once the victim is emotionally invested, the manipulator may withdraw affection and use the victim's emotional dependence to control them. For example, a manipulative partner might shower their significant other with gifts and compliments early in the relationship, only to later use emotional withdrawal as a means of control. To illustrate these tactics, Cooper provides real-life examples. One such example involves a woman named Sarah, who was in a relationship with a man who frequently used guilt-tripping and gaslighting. Whenever Sarah tried to assert her needs, her partner would accuse her of being selfish and ungrateful, making her feel guilty and question her own feelings. Over time, Sarah became increasingly compliant and lost her sense of self-worth. Cooper emphasizes the importance of recognizing these tactics to protect oneself from emotional manipulation. He advises individuals to trust their instincts and seek support from trusted friends or professionals if they suspect they are being manipulated. By understanding the signs of emotional manipulation, individuals can set boundaries and maintain their emotional autonomy. In summary, emotional manipulation in William Cooper's book provides a detailed exploration of the tactics used by manipulators to control others through emotional means. Through real-life examples and practical advice, it equips readers with the knowledge to recognize and defend against these tactics, fostering greater self-awareness and resilience. 5. Mind control techniques. William Cooper explores the sophisticated and often disturbing methods used to influence and control the thoughts and behaviors of others. This section is particularly enlightening as it reveals how these techniques can be applied in various contexts, from personal relationships to broader societal manipulation. Mind control, also known as brainwashing, involves a systematic approach to altering an individual's beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. Cooper explains that mind control techniques are designed to break down an individual's resistance and reshape their thinking to align with the manipulator's goals. These techniques can be subtle or overt, but they all aim to undermine the target's autonomy and critical thinking abilities. One of the primary techniques discussed is isolation. By isolating the target from their usual support networks, manipulators can create a sense of dependency and vulnerability. For example, cult leaders often isolate new recruits from their families and friends, making them more reliant on the group for emotional and social support. This isolation weakens the target's ability to resist the manipulator's influence. Another powerful technique is repetition. Repeating the same messages or ideas over and over can wear down an individual's resistance and make them more likely to accept the manipulator's viewpoint. This technique is often used in propaganda and advertising, where repeated exposure to certain messages can shape public opinion and consumer behavior. Cooper provides an example of a political campaign that uses repetitive slogans and imagery to reinforce a particular narrative, making it more likely that voters will internalize and support that narrative. Fear and intimidation are also common mind control tactics. By creating a climate of fear, manipulators can coerce individuals into compliance. This can involve threats of physical harm, emotional abuse, or social ostracism. For instance, an abusive partner might use threats of violence or abandonment to control their significant other's behavior. The constant fear of repercussions can make it difficult for the victim to think clearly and resist the manipulator's demands. Cooper also discusses the use of confusion and disorientation. By overwhelming the target with conflicting information or rapid changes in circumstances, manipulators can create a state of confusion that makes it easier to implant new ideas. This technique is often used in interrogation settings, where the interrogator bombards the subject with questions and contradictory statements to break down their mental defenses. A real-life example provided by Cooper involves a high-pressure sales environment. Salespeople might use a combination of isolation, keeping the customer in the showroom for hours, repetition, repeating the benefits of the product, and confusion, presenting complex financing options, to wear down the customer's resistance and push them into making a purchase they might otherwise avoid. To protect oneself from mind control techniques, Cooper emphasizes the importance of maintaining strong social connections and critical thinking skills. He advises individuals to seek out diverse sources of information and to question the motives behind the messages they receive. By staying informed and connected, individuals can better resist attempts at manipulation and maintain their autonomy. In summary, mind control techniques in William Cooper's book provides a detailed exploration of the methods used to influence and control others' thoughts and behaviors. Through real-life examples and practical advice, it equips readers with the knowledge to recognize and defend against these tactics, fostering greater self-awareness and resilience. 6. The power of persuasion. The power of persuasion delves into the art and science of influencing others to achieve desired outcomes. Persuasion is a fundamental aspect of human interaction, and understanding its mechanisms can provide significant advantages in both personal and professional settings. Cooper begins by explaining that persuasion is not inherently negative, it becomes problematic when used unethically. Persuasion involves guiding someone to adopt a particular belief or perform a specific action through reasoning, argument, or emotional appeal. It is a skill that can be honed and applied in various contexts, from marketing and sales to everyday conversations. One of the key techniques discussed is reciprocity. This principle is based on the human tendency to return favors. When someone does something for us, we feel a natural obligation to reciprocate. Manipulators often exploit this by giving small gifts or favors to create a sense of indebtedness. For example, a salesperson might offer a free sample or a small discount, making the customer feel obliged to make a purchase in return. Another powerful technique is social proof. People tend to follow the actions of others, especially in uncertain situations. Manipulators use this by highlighting how many others have already adopted a particular behavior or belief. For instance, a marketer might emphasize that a product is a bestseller or that many satisfied customers have left positive reviews. This creates a bandwagon effect, encouraging others to follow suit. Authority is another crucial element of persuasion. People are more likely to be influenced by individuals who are perceived as experts or authority figures. Manipulators often leverage titles, uniforms, or endorsements from credible sources to enhance their persuasive power. For example, a doctor endorsing a health product can significantly boost its credibility and influence potential buyers. Cooper also explores the concept of commitment and consistency. Once people commit to something, they are more likely to follow through to remain consistent with their initial decision. Manipulators use this by getting individuals to make small commitments that gradually lead to larger ones. For example, a charity might first ask for a small donation, and once the person agrees, they are more likely to agree to larger donations in the future. Scarcity is another tactic that plays on the fear of missing out. When something is perceived as limited or rare, its value increases in the eyes of potential buyers. Manipulators use this by creating a sense of urgency, such as limited time offers or exclusive deals. For instance, an online retailer might highlight that a product is almost sold out to prompt immediate purchases. To illustrate these techniques, Cooper provides real-life examples. One such example involves a car dealership that uses a combination of reciprocity, social proof, and scarcity to close deals. The salesperson might offer a free car wash, reciprocity, mention that the model is very popular and selling fast, social proof and scarcity, and emphasize their years of experience in the industry, authority. These combined tactics create a persuasive environment that makes it difficult for the customer to resist. Cooper emphasizes the importance of ethical persuasion and encourages readers to use these techniques responsibly. He advises individuals to be aware of these tactics to protect themselves from being unduly influenced and to apply them in ways that are honest and beneficial to all parties involved. In summary, The Power of Persuasion in William Cooper's book provides a detailed exploration of the techniques used to influence others. Through real-life examples and practical advice, it equips readers with the knowledge to recognize and ethically apply these tactics, fostering greater awareness and effectiveness in their interactions. 7. Defensive strategies. The section on defensive strategies is essential for anyone looking to protect themselves from the various manipulative tactics discussed throughout the book. This section provides practical advice and techniques to recognize, resist, and counteract manipulation, ensuring that individuals can maintain their autonomy and psychological well-being. Cooper begins by emphasizing the importance of self-awareness. Understanding your own vulnerabilities and emotional triggers is the first step in defending against manipulation. Manipulators often exploit these weaknesses, so being aware of them can help you recognize when someone is attempting to manipulate you. For example, if you know that you have a strong need for approval, you can be more vigilant when someone uses flattery or praise to influence your decisions. One of the key defensive strategies discussed is setting boundaries. Clear and firm boundaries are crucial in preventing manipulation. Cooper advises individuals to communicate their limits assertively and consistently. For instance, if a colleague frequently asks you to cover their shifts, setting a boundary might involve politely but firmly declining and explaining that you need to prioritize your own responsibilities. Another important strategy is critical thinking. Manipulators often rely on emotional appeals and logical fallacies to influence their targets. By developing strong critical thinking skills, you can analyze situations more objectively and identify manipulative tactics. Cooper suggests questioning the motives behind someone's actions and looking for inconsistencies in their behavior or statements. For example, if a salesperson is pressuring you to make a quick decision, taking a step back to evaluate the offer critically can help you avoid being swayed by high-pressure tactics. Emotional regulation is also a key component of defending against manipulation. Manipulators often try to provoke strong emotional reactions to cloud your judgment. By staying calm and composed, you can think more clearly and respond more effectively. Cooper recommends techniques such as deep breathing, mindfulness, and taking a break from the situation to regain your composure. For instance, if a partner is using emotional blackmail, taking a moment to calm down before responding can help you avoid reacting impulsively. Cooper also highlights the importance of seeking support. Having a strong support network can provide valuable perspective and help you stay grounded. Trusted friends, family members, or professionals can offer advice and support when you are dealing with manipulative individuals. For example, discussing a difficult situation with a friend can help you see things more clearly and develop a plan to address the manipulation. To illustrate these strategies, Cooper provides real-life examples. One such example involves a woman named Lisa, who was in a relationship with a manipulative partner. Lisa's partner frequently used guilt-tripping and emotional blackmail to control her behavior. By becoming more self-aware and recognizing her need for approval, Lisa was able to identify these tactics. She set clear boundaries by communicating her needs assertively and sought support from friends and a therapist. Through critical thinking and emotional regulation, Lisa was able to resist her partner's manipulative tactics and eventually ended the unhealthy relationship. In summary, Defensive Strategies in William Cooper's book provides a comprehensive guide to recognizing and resisting manipulation. By focusing on self-awareness, setting boundaries, critical thinking, emotional regulation, and seeking support, individuals can protect themselves from manipulative tactics and maintain their psychological well-being. Through real-life examples and practical advice, Cooper equips readers with the tools they need to navigate complex social interactions and defend their autonomy. 8. Psychological triggers. William Cooper delves into the subtle yet powerful stimuli that can influence human behavior and decision-making. Understanding these triggers is crucial for recognizing how manipulators exploit them to control others. Psychological triggers are specific cues or stimuli that evoke strong emotional responses, often bypassing rational thought. These triggers can be anything from words and images to sounds and smells. Manipulators use these triggers to create desired reactions in their targets, often without the target's conscious awareness. One of the primary triggers discussed is fear. Fear is a powerful motivator that can override logical thinking and prompt immediate action. Manipulators often use fear to control their targets by creating a sense of danger or urgency. For example, a scam artist might send an urgent email claiming that the recipient's bank account has been compromised, prompting them to provide sensitive information without thinking it through. Another common trigger is guilt. Guilt can be used to manipulate people into doing things they wouldn't normally do. For instance, a manipulative friend might say, "I can't believe you would let me down like this after everything I've done for you," making the target feel guilty and more likely to comply with their demands. Flattery is also a powerful psychological trigger. Compliments and praise can make people feel good about themselves and more inclined to agree with the manipulator. For example, a salesperson might shower a potential customer with compliments about their taste and decision-making skills, making them more likely to buy the product. Cooper also discusses the use of reciprocity as a trigger. This principle is based on the human tendency to return favors. Manipulators often give small gifts or do favors to create a sense of obligation in their targets. For instance, a coworker might bring you coffee every morning, making you feel obliged to help them with their work later on. Social proof is another significant trigger. People tend to follow the actions of others, especially in uncertain situations. Manipulators use this by highlighting how many others have already adopted a particular behavior or belief. For example, a marketer might emphasize that a product is a bestseller or that many satisfied customers have left positive reviews, creating a bandwagon effect. To illustrate these triggers, Cooper provides real-life examples. One such example involves a charity fundraiser who uses a combination of fear and guilt to solicit donations. The fundraiser might show distressing images of suffering animals and say, "Without your help, these animals will continue to suffer," evoking fear and guilt in potential donors and prompting them to give money. Cooper emphasizes the importance of recognizing these triggers to protect oneself from manipulation. he advises individuals to be aware of their emotional responses and to take a step back to evaluate the situation rationally. By understanding how psychological triggers work, individuals can better resist manipulative tactics and make more informed decisions. In summary, Psychological Triggers in William Cooper's book provides a detailed exploration of the stimuli that manipulators use to influence behavior. Through real-life examples and practical advice, it equips readers with the knowledge to recognize and defend against these triggers, fostering greater self-awareness and resilience. 9. The role of narcissism. The author explores how narcissistic traits can amplify manipulative behaviors and tactics. Narcissism, characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance and a deep need for admiration, plays a significant role in dark psychology. Cooper delves into how narcissists use their traits to manipulate and control others, often leaving a trail of emotional damage in their wake. Narcissists are often charming and charismatic, which makes them effective manipulators. They use their charm to draw people in, creating a facade of confidence and competence. This initial allure can make it difficult for others to see the manipulative behaviors that lie beneath the surface. One of the key traits of narcissism is a lack of empathy. Narcissists are often unable to understand or care about the feelings of others. This lack of empathy allows them to manipulate without guilt or remorse. For example, a narcissistic boss might take credit for an employee's work, knowing it will harm the employee's career, but feeling no guilt because they believe they deserve the recognition. Another important aspect is the narcissist's need for control. Narcissists often feel a deep need to control their environment and the people in it. They use various manipulative tactics to maintain this control, such as gaslighting, where they make others doubt their own perceptions and reality. For instance, a narcissistic partner might repeatedly tell their significant other that they are too sensitive or overreacting, causing the partner to question their own feelings and judgments. Cooper also discusses the concept of narcissistic supply, which refers to the attention and admiration that narcissists crave. They manipulate those around them to ensure a steady supply of this validation. For example, a narcissistic friend might constantly seek praise and admiration from their social circle, using flattery and charm to keep others focused on them. When the supply is threatened, they may resort to more aggressive manipulative tactics to regain control. To illustrate these points, Cooper provides real-life examples. One such example involves a woman named Emily, who was in a relationship with a narcissistic partner. Her partner used a combination of charm and manipulation to control her. He would shower her with affection and praise when she did what he wanted, but would become cold and distant when she asserted her own needs. Over time, Emily became increasingly dependent on his approval and lost her sense of self-worth. Cooper emphasizes the importance of recognizing narcissistic traits to protect oneself from manipulation. He advises individuals to look for signs such as a lack of empathy, a constant need for admiration, and manipulative behaviors. By understanding these traits, individuals can set boundaries and protect themselves from being exploited by narcissists. In summary, the role of narcissism in William Cooper's book provides a detailed exploration of how narcissistic traits contribute to manipulative behaviors. Through real-life examples and practical advice, it equips readers with the knowledge to recognize and defend against narcissistic manipulation, fostering greater self-awareness and resilience. 10. Ethical considerations. The section on ethical considerations addresses the moral implications of using psychological manipulation techniques. This section is crucial as it provides a framework for understanding the fine line between ethical influence and unethical manipulation. Cooper begins by acknowledging that the techniques discussed in the book can be powerful tools for achieving personal and professional goals. However, he emphasizes that with great power comes great responsibility. The ethical use of these techniques requires a deep understanding of their potential impact on others and a commitment to using them in ways that do not cause harm. One of the key ethical considerations discussed is consent. Ethical influence involves obtaining the informed consent of the person being influenced. This means being transparent about your intentions and ensuring that the other person is aware of and agrees to the influence. For example, in a therapeutic setting, A psychologist might use certain techniques to help a patient, but these techniques are used with the patient's knowledge and consent. Another important consideration is intent. The intent behind using psychological techniques plays a significant role in determining their ethicality. Techniques used to genuinely help or support someone, such as motivating a team to achieve their best, are generally considered ethical. In contrast, using the same techniques to deceive or exploit someone for personal gain is unethical. For instance, a manager who uses motivational techniques to inspire employees to reach their potential is acting ethically, whereas a manager who uses manipulation to exploit employees for personal gain is not. Cooper also discusses the concept of harm. Ethical use of psychological techniques should avoid causing physical, emotional, or psychological harm. This includes being mindful of the potential long-term effects of manipulation. For example, using fear-based tactics to control someone's behavior can lead to long-term anxiety and trust issues, which is unethical. To illustrate these points, Cooper provides real-life examples. One such example involves a marketing professional named John, who uses persuasive techniques to promote a product. John ensures that his marketing messages are honest and transparent, providing potential customers with all the information they need to make an informed decision. By doing so, he respects their autonomy and avoids deceptive practices, adhering to ethical standards. In contrast, Cooper describes a scenario where a salesperson named Lisa uses manipulative tactics to pressure customers into buying a product they don't need. Lisa uses fear and urgency to create a sense of panic, leading customers to make hasty decisions. This approach not only undermines the customer's autonomy but also causes emotional distress, making it unethical. Cooper emphasizes the importance of self-reflection and accountability in maintaining ethical standards. He advises individuals to regularly reflect on their actions and consider the impact on others. Seeking feedback from peers and mentors can also help ensure that one's use of psychological techniques remains ethical. For example, a leader might seek feedback from their team to ensure that their motivational strategies are perceived as supportive rather than manipulative. In summary, Ethical Considerations in William Cooper's book provides a comprehensive guide to the responsible use of psychological manipulation techniques. By focusing on consent, intent, and harm, and through real-life examples, Cooper equips readers with the knowledge to use these techniques ethically, fostering greater awareness and integrity in their interactions. Conclusion. The author brings together the various themes and insights discussed throughout the book, emphasizing the importance of awareness and ethical considerations in understanding and navigating the complex world of dark psychology. Cooper begins by reiterating the pervasive nature of dark psychology. He emphasizes that manipulation and psychological control are not confined to any single domain but are present in everyday interactions, from personal relationships to professional environments. This underscores the necessity for individuals to be vigilant and informed about the tactics used by manipulators. One of the key takeaways from the conclusion is the importance of self-awareness. Cooper stresses that understanding one's own vulnerabilities and emotional triggers is crucial in defending against manipulation. By being aware of these aspects, individuals can better recognize when they are being influenced and take steps to protect themselves. For example, someone who knows they have a strong need for approval can be more cautious when receiving excessive praise or flattery. Cooper also highlights the role of ethical influence. He acknowledges that the techniques discussed in the book can be powerful tools for achieving positive outcomes when used responsibly. Ethical influence involves using these techniques transparently and with the consent of those being influenced. For instance, a leader who uses motivational techniques to inspire their team while being honest about their intentions is practicing ethical influence. The conclusion also addresses the responsibility that comes with understanding dark psychology. Cooper urges readers to use their knowledge for good, to help others recognize and defend against manipulation, and to foster environments where ethical behavior is the norm. He provides an example of a teacher who uses their understanding of psychological triggers to create a supportive and motivating classroom environment, rather than one based on fear or coercion. Cooper shares a real-life story of a woman named Jane, who, after reading the book, was able to identify and extricate herself from a manipulative relationship. Jane's partner had used a combination of gaslighting and emotional blackmail to control her. Armed with the knowledge from Cooper's book, Jane recognized these tactics and sought support from friends and a therapist. She set firm boundaries and eventually left the relationship, reclaiming her autonomy and self-worth. In his final remarks, Cooper emphasizes the importance of continuous learning. He encourages readers to keep educating themselves about psychological principles and to stay informed about new developments in the field. This ongoing education is vital for maintaining resilience against manipulation and for using psychological techniques ethically and effectively. In summary, the conclusion of Dark Psychology and Manipulation by William Cooper ties together the book's key themes, emphasizing the importance of self-awareness, ethical influence, and continuous learning. Through real-life examples and practical advice, Cooper leaves readers with a sense of empowerment and responsibility, encouraging them to use their knowledge to protect themselves and others from manipulation. Thank you for listening. I hope this content is useful to you. If you like this kind of content, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel to support our team.